You move, you crawl, you stop, and you listen. In the distance, you hear a shriek, followed by the chanting of words in some weird tongue. As you go forward, you notice yourself falling as you have suddenly opened a trap, and the pit is down where it comes. You hit the bottom, and it spikes. How many people out there play Dungeons and Dragons? Because that probably sounded a little familiar for that. Around the time Dungeons and Dragons became a thing, there also became a thing in comic books called Sword and Sorcery comics. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings had come out as a novel and was getting very popular. People were reading it. People were going into it thinking, "Wow, this is cool." So today, I am going to do Allan's Friday Comic Book Challenge response to top 10 Sword and Sorcery comics. Now, I've just picked 10 books at random, so to speak, because I'm actually working on a Sword and Sorcery deep dive video that I'm going to record very soon and that I'm going to use on some of these books, but I'm also saving other books for this. So I am going to show a few that I've got here, and they aren't necessarily going to be the ones that end up in the other video, so bear with me, okay? First up, we have Arik, Son of Thunder, number 1. Although the character is Native American, the main character, we've got a sorceress and we've got monsters. Plus, he's not in North America, he's actually back in Europe. He's taken with the Vikings. So this becomes your typical sword and sorcery story with a guy from a foreign land. It becomes a awesome, awesome dude, and this is a lot of fun. I've liked Arik over the years very much. So Arik number 1 is my first sword and sorcery. Number 2 is a comic book that I am so happy to get. It only seems to ever come out once every 8 to 10 months. This is called Fire and Ice. This is issue 4. And I have been enjoying this series, and I'm so glad that issue 4 finally came out the week of the filming of this video. This is a great story, and I really recommend it highly to anybody who is not, reading it at the moment. It's basically two different, diametrically opposed fire and ice that are fighting. But I'll get into more details in the other video. This is just a teaser, so to speak. I might have all 4 covers there. Everybody knows Conan. Conan is the barbarian. He's probably the original sword and sorcery comic book that did extremely well in the 70s. After all, some people argue that Conan number 1 is the beginning of the Bronze Age. I would make that argument myself. But, certainly for Marvel, I don't know overall. That's up for everybody else to decide. But I picked out Conan number 16 because it is one of my favorite covers of all time for this run. Conan has some really, really awesome covers. But this one's by Barry Windsor Smith, and I've got a couple other Barry Windsor Smiths that I'm going to show in the other video as well. But this one I picked for this one because this is a top 10, right? So you go with what you like, including this other Conan book from the current series. This is actually the most recent issue. This is issue 25. It's a great introspective. If you haven't read this, it's a double-sized issue that covers most of the big events of Conan's life, and it's definitely worth a good read because if you're a fan of Conan, you're already reading this book anyways, and if you're not, maybe it's time you should. Next up, everybody knows when it comes to these top 10 videos, I always try to stretch the limits. This will not be in my Sword and Sorcery overview video, but this sure is going to be in this one because it's funny. This is Star Wars 39, The Sword and Sorcery Darth Vader. You can make the argument that the Force, the dark side especially, is very spells and, sorceress. After all, he does say in A New Hope, You don't fool us with your sorcerous ways, Lord Vader. So right there, that tells me, oh, look, sorcery. Plus, of course, the lightsaber, a sword. Therefore, to me, he fits in as a sword and sorcery character. You can agree or disagree, but I'm making the argument. Next up, I have Cruel Kingdom #1, which has a really cool picture of a knight on the cover with a floating crown, and it even says sorcery right in the corner here. So to me, you got the sword, you got sorcery, therefore it meets the criteria for this video. I'm not sure this is an actual sword and sorcery title per se. I will make that determination later. I'm just having fun. Next up, we have 2 Warlord books. By the way, I'm doing slightly more than 10 here. This one I really like. This is number 45 because it's got a cool cover of Travis Morgan on a horse with dinosaurs in the background. And anytime you can get a cover with dinosaurs, you take advantage. That's just the law. And then I have this one, Warlord 66, which is one of my favorite covers of the series because this wicked shot of a demon is really, really cool. Plus, it's Mike Grell. It's more Mike Grell goodness. You can't go wrong with Mike Grell goodness. Next up, we have a book called Birthright. This is issue 2, and it's a cool book, especially if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, because it's a conflict between goblins and orcs and a third group, which is sort of like lizard men. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I read this. I'm going to be rereading it again. I just know that I enjoyed this immensely, and I'm looking in dollar bins to get the rest of the books. The dollar bin was where I found this one originally, so I would imagine most of the books are dollar bin, which is great because I love that diving. So Birthright #2. We got 2 more that I'm going to show. This is just really cool. This is Warlord #1, second appearance of Travis Morgan. It's just a cool cover. Big sword battle. Which is the same for why I picked Red Sonja #2 here. It's just a really cool big sword battle. And of course, we all know Red Sonja is one of the best. And I just think this is a great book. If you like any of these books, please like, comment, subscribe below. Please tell me which books you liked. Please tell me if you didn't like a book, or please tell me if the weather's great in your area. I mean, it's all valid. I especially want to know what you think of my argument with regards to Darth Vader, of whether he counts as a sword and sorcery character, because I think that would make a very cool debate. Even though it's a sci-fi universe, there is a lot of planets in the Star Wars universe where the technology and the species that don't use the technology, and therefore could qualify as sword and sorcery in some areas. For example, maybe the Geonosians, at least with their lifestyle. Anyway, I'll move on. I'll stop yammering. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to get in on the top 10 videos, just hashtag Friday Comic Challenge, tag Allan at Comic Collector Geek, tag myself because I love watching these videos and would love to see what you've got to contribute. Every time I watch one of these, I see covers I've never seen before for the most part, and I absolutely love seeing that because I like to see what people have. Thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Bye, everybody.